Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ewan Dunsmuir of Ewan Dunsmuir Images. Tonight we're going to set off for a photograph somewhere quite local. Every day you get two periods of what's called the golden hour if you have sun. Usually happens a half hour before sunset and a half hour after sunrise. Now tonight we're going to be going down to take a photograph down at a local spot which is close by water. Now if you remember the last video, the first video I did on this channel, you'll remember I made a mistake and I admitted to making a massive mistake. Remember this. Last night, the night before I took this video, I went out and I tried to take photographs and made a mistake. It was a big one, won't tell you what it was, but it was monstrous. So we're not going to be doing that again. I'm going to make jolly sure that I have everything I need with me tonight. So first thing first, camera. I need that camera clearly. Check. Now I'm going to need lenses, so I'm going to take one lens, two lens, three lens and an extender. I don't know what I'm going to use in terms of composition and we'll talk you through that when we get down there. I'm going to need a battery for the camera. Do not forget your battery. CF cards or SD cards. I have two, as I have two slots in my camera. We'll be taking both of these with us. I'll be taking a filter platform with me which includes a polarizer because we'll be going to water and I need to use polarization to cut down or increase colour in the sky. I'm also going to be taking some long exposure images, so I may need graduated filters, I may need ND filters, you don't need these, but I'll have a play around with these when I get down to the scene. I'm going to need an intervalometer, just should we go beyond 30 seconds, I need this to be able to lock it on bulb. I'm going to need my bag to carry all my gear. I need end caps for the camera and the lenses should I change over. I'm going to need my tripod because I'm taking long exposures and it's uneven ground. I need a good, solid, chunky tripod which I've got here. Now because golden hour happens at night, it generally gets a little colder at night unless you're in a really hot climate. So I'm going to take plenty of layers with me. I'm going to take a jacket in case I get cold. I've already got 1, 2, 3 layers on, so layer up. And I'll also be taking a towel because I don't know how wet I will get if I'm going near to water. That's about it, I think. Come with me, see how we get on, and I'll speak to you when we're on location. Hey guys, that's us down on location now. We're down past Lake Rotorua at Hamurana, down in Rotorua. So what we've found when we've got here is the sun's probably about half an hour from going down, so we're probably just in time in terms of trying to find out where we're going to shoot. Now wherever you are in the world, the sun always rises in the east and always sets in the west, northern or southern hemisphere, it's both the same. So what we're actually looking for here is in the west some clear skies to try and create some long lovely colours, pinks and purples and oranges in the clouds to the east. Yeah, to the east. So if we can arrive at location and then do some scoping about where you're going to try and find your location to set up and take a photograph. Don't be lazy, don't take it from the roadside and be prepared to go out of your way and maybe get your feet wet. There's actually a reason I'm wearing shorts, because I may get my feet wet tonight. Now the water's a little bit more choppy than I wanted, so I probably will end up using ND filters to try and slow stuff down to try and make that water nice and silky smooth. Let's go and try and find our location. So what I've got here guys is we've actually got a mountain in the middle of the lake here, or a hill in the middle of the lake, but just to the foreground there's a rock that I'm going to try and get close to try and give me some foreground perspective. Wide angle lenses give you quite a perspective that's biased towards the foreground and makes everything else quite far away. So in order for a wide angle shot to work properly, you need something in the foreground to grab your attention. I'll be shooting at 28mm equivalent, which is quite wide for medium format, and we'll see how we get on. I don't know whose idea this was. This is actually quite cool. I've set up and I'm just going to talk you through some rough meter reading here. There's a misnomer about landscape photography about everything has to be f22. No, your lens doesn't perform the best at f22. It probably performs about f9, f11. Doesn't wide open, doesn't close closed. I'm going to set up at 100 ISO at f11 to give me my shutter speed. Now my shutter speed currently is 1/3 of 1 second, so I'm going to use a 6-stop filter. So what that does is it reduces the lights that's available by 6 stop. So if I go a 1/6 of a second, 1/3 of a second, let's call it a second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds. So I'll call it maybe a 10-second exposure to try and smooth some of this water, because we've only got a few minutes left of this beautiful light in some of these clouds. So let me just set up. Now I'm also going to take a grad filter just to darken some of the sky onto live view. Some beautiful colours in the sky. So one of the difficulties we've got is falling light. So I metered originally for a 10-second exposure at f11, and because it's falling so quickly now, some dramatic colours in the sky here, I've ended up going for 25 seconds at f11 at 100 ISO. Now that should be more than enough to smooth out the water, and I think we've probably got our shot. Now what we'll do is we'll go from this and we'll take it to this through Lightroom. I'm going to have to get out this water, this is pretty cold. Oh, camera! Now this is the kind of vista that I was looking at. So some of these lovely colours in the clouds, just caught by the falling sun, and then some beautiful landscape colours along the horizon. And this orange here will only stand to get stronger and stronger as the sun falls. It's quite spectacular, it's beautiful. I'll see you back at the house. See you! Hey guys, that's me back home after having dried off and warmed up, having been in that rather cold lake tonight. Now tonight's light was very short-lived. It was quite dramatic, it was very, very colourful, it was very beautiful. But the light got away from me quite quickly, and I only had that really colourful sky for probably 2 or 3 minutes, and most of that time was me trying to talk about what I was taking. So I had the box on, take the photograph and miss out some of the finer details about how I was taking the shot, what I was seeing, and the techniques I was using to try and get it. One of the things I did cover off tonight is the use of wide angle lenses. So I use 28mm and 35mm equivalent, and it's still quite wide for a medium format camera, so it tends to exaggerate foreground and makes the background quite small. Now the wider you go, the bigger that exaggeration. So if you go to 20mm, 21mm, 17mm, 14mm is a very wide angle lens, it tends to make your background disappear and makes it very foreground dominant. So you have to try and anchor your image with something in the foreground so that nothingness doesn't take over your image. Now a couple other things that I didn't talk through tonight is looking at 2 different types of sharpnesses. Now there's autofocus sharp and there's critical sharpness, and critical sharpness you actually achieve by manually focusing your camera. So switch off autofocus and manual focus at your lens's sweet spot, which will be around about f11, and you'll achieve critical sharpness every time. So don't rely on autofocus, and certainly don't rely on f22. I'm going to show you very quickly what we've started with and what we end up with as I process this through Lightroom. Now one of the things to be quite clear about here, this is not the usual image I take. I usually take stuff that's much more subdued, much more balanced, but tonight was a really good opportunity to play with golden hour and really strong, some beautiful colours in the sky to show when the sun goes down, you accentuate some of the clouds as long as it's clear in the west with some beautiful purples, oranges and yellows, which is exactly what we got tonight. So let's go and have a look and see how we get on. Hey guys, that's us just about done. Yesterday was really good fun. It was great fun to get outside. We had a lovely evening to try and go exploring, getting out in the fresh air, looking at some beautiful landscape, looking at some beautiful colours in the sky that's caused by the sun in the west, causing these magic colours at the golden hour on the clouds to the east. I enjoyed myself and I learned some stuff yesterday again. I hope you learned some stuff too. We talked yesterday about the dominance of wide angle lenses, anchoring the foreground with a couple of objects, which I've done here with the rocks. Now during the post-processing stuff you saw me doing in Lightroom, now Lightroom's a great tool, it's very subtle. Creating a leading line here, which you'll see in the full resolution image when you look on Flickr, a real dominant horizon line, but to make sure that it's not all dominant heavy to the foreground, some real drama in the sky. And if you have a look at the framing here, in terms of the composition and the cropping, I've cropped this out so that we've got clouds in the corner, leading our way back to the focal point, which is bang in the middle of the screen. Now the link for Flickr is down below, so the high res or the higher res of this image is on Flickr, link is below. Also have a look at the other images within my Flickr account, because I use the same process within Lightroom to try and achieve these other images as well. Link for my website is down below. And on this channel here, I would encourage you to ask any questions or make any comments you feel that you need answers to, and I'll do my best to try and answer these or post videos to any requirements you may have. In terms of aftercare, fresh water yesterday, not so much of an issue. If you're going into the sea with your gear, for goodness sake watch what you're doing, and aftercare for your tripod, whether it's aluminium with steel fittings, carbon fibre with steel fittings, you're going to need to wash it off with fresh water and let it dry well, preferably in the sun. Get out and take some photographs, have fun. Until then, see you.